Spirit of Matter, and this episode is dedicated to missing and kidnapped people worldwide. So, both to resolution of cases of missing people, whether they are cold cases, water expands upon cooling, we do not forget, or recent cases, regardless of the circumstances. And to bring people who are alive, who are kidnapped, who are missing, into life, into a life that they are supported, that they are safe. Okay, so I shall begin with the symbol, uh, yeah, of Neptune, with the symbol of Neptune. Yes, honoring Neptune that rules missing people, honoring Neptune that rules whether it's a mystery that which blends into the great vast, and the popping up of those people that were missing. So Neptune rules that which is easily indistinguishable, that which blends with the view. And so I'm going to call an honoring of Neptune. Neptune also is associated with Poseidon, the god of the sea. This is a Venus day, Jupiter hour where I am. Midheaven, I believe, is ruled by Libra, by Venus. So as we continue with this scribbling, I'm going to ask to bring into the awareness of the great vast and of the great people that there are people living, children, people, women, men, that the circumstances around a kidnapping or a person going missing, bless you, can be intricate. That our desire is to bring healing through those circumstances. So for a person that is missing, for them to be found by those who will support their well-being and their path the most. And thus, some people are missing, but they are actually left a place that was violent to them. And so my prayers is not for them to come home, but for them to come to a place that they are safe, they are supported, they are nourished, they are nurtured. And yes, for some people it is about missing home, and for those people, yes, I wish and I pray for these people to come to their home and to be supported. Also, the signals of a person being missing are every day. Okay, if you walk every day, you would see a poster or a picture of a person that they say is missing. We don't know what this person is. And so for sometimes these people have been left out and dealt with corruption of systems. And thus, they felt like they have no place to go. So some of these people were kidnapped or that are facilitated by a web of organizations, governmental, not governmental, and societal, that basically keep a place where there is a blind spot. For example, a lot of people would call, let's say, the welfare. But it's not always the good solution for people. Whether some people don't have nationality, or some people are actually victims to corruption by systems, and so some of them, they go missing, they go and they are subjected to all kinds of risks. So my prayer is for society to wake up to the many possibilities that we have as people, facilitate, to not call cops immediately, to not call welfare immediately, to listen to the person. And if we find such person, because many people, as now there is war, many people are missing, going missing, but also many people are escaping. Okay? Under these very harsh circumstances, many people are actually escaping places where they were held in captivity. And so, a lot of these people, what they need is not for you to call the cops or to call the welfare or to let the family know, but to listen. What do they need? What is this person in front of me needs? And to form trust with these people. So for us as society, these people have a lot to say to us. They might not know of a lot of things, but they know of a lot of other things that we are not aware of. And some of those things are very near to our life. Okay, it can be a house in the neighborhood that they escaped from. It can be people that we are working with. Okay, it can be many things that we don't know, and those things allowed them to go missing in the first place. So if you find such person, then the best is to listen to this person, okay, what they need, and to provide for them with what they need. And also, here honoring of Neptune and honoring of those people that are in situations that is helpless. Okay, so people are kidnapped. When you have a lot of people that are concerned, where is this child? Where is this person? That they care. They want to know what happened. Okay, what we need to understand, Neptune also rules disease. And what we need to understand is people become diseased or even imprisoned when they cannot roam free in society. When they want to play, they need to play in the garden, but I said it's dangerous. And people say, stay here, stay there for your safety. But they must roam around, they must play, they must take part in that which is the living. And so they find themselves imprisoned. And our job as society is to make it safe for them to be born present. And so if you want to find missing people, we need to be in those places that usually people are not found in them. Okay, this means we need to go and to travel. It means we need to be around the parks, around the cities. It means we need to have flexibility in our schedule to do so, not as an emergency, but as the fabric of life. Okay, as the fabric of life. There are people who are night people. Okay, they work the best at night. So if it's safe for them to walk, they can take a night walk. If it's safe for them, if there is presence, then even if some person escaped, then they can meet a person. And so the encounter between those missing people, those kidnapped people, and society is an encounter through which we are exposed to that which was blind spot for us. We didn't know that it was this easy to do something. You know, I've been running into 3 times at least. It only takes good people to do nothing. And while this is not something that was invented by Peter Ardefries, who did a show called Misdaadgestraffer about missing people and resolving cases of that was murder of missing people. I heard him quote it, and then it kept coming up everywhere I go. It kept coming up, and then the question is, okay, but what must we do? And some of these acts attending to it are even simple. Okay, when I was in Netherlands, when I was in a shelter, I saw some person holding a child, and this child seemed reluctant, not can be nothing, it can be insensitivity, but the fact is that I, as a tourist, I could say, oh, I don't know, and to take a picture of this person holding the child. Okay, it was something. When I was in the Dead Sea, okay, I heard some adult person, and they were holding the child or doing something, and I didn't know what it was, but I didn't need to know what it was. All I could do is swim next to them, and then suddenly it didn't happen anymore. Okay, so our presence, the more we are present, the more we take up space, then we can contribute to less people going missing. Our presence, our awareness. So people cannot do something in secrecy next to us without us being just even present. Or even your presence means that the person who is fearing in the view, just your presence in space, have freedom of movement for our security. Okay, you see how these things, how these worlds of the missing, the kidnapped, are intertwining with our world, and they're giving us good health, because what it means that you travel. It means that if you are a night person, it's okay for you not to work, because then you will take a night walk. Okay, and now you are present. Now you are disturbing the fabric of those who wish to grab a child, to grab a person. Now, for some of those interested wish to grab a person, to grab a child, sometimes they seek to point our attention to something. Okay? For example, let's take organized crime. Drug cartels, organized crime. Drug cartels and organized crime, they appear in the juncture between tourism, okay, people who would consume, and lack of rights or employment. Okay, so people who don't have papers, people who don't have the ability to do, let's say, the 9 to 5, or people who don't have the ability to get along in society. We are marginalized from society. Okay, so the juncture, this is why it's a lot of kids, you pay attention, a lot of kids are being recruited to these organizations. Why? It's not only because they are kids and it's not legal to persecute them, because sometimes it is, but also kids are in a situation where what do they have to do? Their parents are at work, and so they cannot play around. They cannot play around, so they are sent to a school, and the school, so as beautiful as they try to make it, the school is not answering their needs. And so they're looking for a gap. They're looking for something to do. They're looking for someone who will tend to them. They're looking for something that is less boring than to sit in class and to learn things in a way that is not applied learning, okay? And so while some people, when I was a school girl, then I loved studying. I loved, you give me books, you give me this, I was okay. But not all people are like that. In fact, most children are not like that. And this is why when a child is being recruited and then they're given comfort and then they're given money, even they're given independence, they're given responsibility, they're given a role, they're given a sense of belonging in something, then it is answering a certain need that the child does not get in modern society. And so children are being kidnapped easily, okay? Then of course there are cases where these children will be sold. Terrible things will happen with these children and with these people. And so what is actually to save these children is actually good for entire society, for parents to spend more time with their children, for children to play around and the parents are present, for children to learn in a way that is joyous, okay? If you talk about being in nature and learning about biology, or being, with chemistry there are labs, but traveling and learning a new language. When I was in my high school years, my mother took me to travel, and I traveled nearly all of Europe. And I was very, very privileged. We were not rich. We just exchanged paying rent for traveling. And I learned a bit of German, I learned a bit of Dutch, I learned a bit of French, I learned a bit of Italian, and It was very, very useful. I was also also some of it happened before I was 12. And so this is very, very good for the nervous system and for the child, that you see a lot of places, even in the sense that you see, I like to go to magazine shops where they have the papers, because I like the written word. And you see different designs, different pictures, or even how in Germany you would have a magazine for teenagers called Bravo, and there was always a picture of a naked man and naked woman. Always. But in Israel, who would think about this? Okay, so people would only see nudity in the context of sneaking up and watching a certain type of porn that may or may not be good for them. So I knew this when I was a teenager, because I had the privilege that my parents was very resourceful and she took me to travel. So when we travel, okay, we are present in places where we're not expected. So it's very difficult to predict our pattern of existence. Okay, it's very difficult to predict. If you go to work every day the same way and go back the same way, it's very easy to track you. And if your child does the same, okay, then very easy to kidnap them. People think children are kidnapped when they roam around. Not always. Of course, you also want those places where people roam around to have presence of people in them. And it's not done by patrolling, but by actual play, travel, and game, because what happens then is you become more attentive. And now you see how, when we tend those missing people, to those kidnapped people, to the gap of existence between their way of life and our way of life, and we alter our way of life just a little bit, every day, just a little bit, our nervous system becomes healthier. We become healthier. We begin to be more percepting, and we begin to be more creative, and also we begin to be able to produce things that are way better for our life, for our society. Okay, our crops begin to yield. So now you're already understanding that we come not with judgment, but we come with connecting to that child spirit, connecting to this person that went missing. Okay, and so when you are looking for something, even let's take an object. Okay, let's say you don't know where you put it. What are you going to do? Okay? You're going to think, where was I with this object? But let's say you don't remember at all. Then you're going to look at places that are not conventional for this to be. Okay, you think, where was I? Maybe I was putting it in the fridge. Maybe I was putting it in the shower. Now what are you doing? You are cleaning up the place. Okay? You are cleaning up the place, and you find many things. If you go through every time Mercury is retrograde and something goes missing, when you return it, you see you found something new. You rediscovered an old picture, an old document, an old saying, an old pair of shoes that might be needed. Okay, you refresh things. And so when a person is going missing, it draws our attention that, oh my God, there must be presence of people in this place. Must be presence of people in those places. Okay, the common people. How come I, as let's say Israeli, it's not safe for me to travel to Gaza? How come a person who lives in Gaza is not safe for them to travel to Israel? Not reasonable. Okay, so we need to understand that it is also those type of things that affect us. And when people or things go missing, I want to say to you something. Before the 7th of October, in my region, I live in southern Israel, only a few kilometers from a nuclear plant, and apparently they have more than one, so I don't know. It's something that I didn't know. I learned from people who live abroad. And the thing is that before that, months before this, I felt like guidance to put food in random places. let's say I was getting some food for my family and I was driving in the bus, then I would put some food, I would leave it on the bus. I would just leave it like I forgot it. Or next to a bench, or in some place, to just leave food in some places. And I said it's for the missing people, for people who escape, for people who are on the run and have no food. And then the same with water. And then I would see pictures of missing people at first on buses, and then at bus station I would see a picture. Sometimes I even took a picture and I said, I've set intention. What can I do? What can I do? Should I publish it on Facebook? What can I do? What can I do? And then what happened on the 7th of October, the first day, it took 10 hours for the military to do something. It's not because of the military, it's very complicated, and you can read about Yom Kippur's 1973. And for some of you can read maybe even about other events, like what led to Iraq war. But the thing is that at the first day, there were about 200 kidnappers. 200 people were kidnapped from their homes, okay, into Palestine, into Gaza. So now I can see how I was seeing preliminary signs. I was also directed to look at the donation of blood now, because for me, I would need a donation of blood in a usual, how do you say it? Like the one that they use is thick. And so I said, I don't mind to sit even 3 hours, 4 hours. I want to donate blood, but I just need the needle to be fit to my vein. And it was not possible. Just imagine, okay, and how a few days later broke a war. And how when we have one person missing, another person missing, we don't know what to do. Now we're 200 people missing. Immediately there was kind of like a statue of the dinner party, and the dinner party with the chairs waiting for the kidnappers, and this place awakens the consciousness of people in Tel Aviv Museum. So I was thinking, what if we made such a thing about every person who is kidnapped? Every person who is kidnapped, we kept it in the consciousness, we kept tending to it so creative ideas can come. Okay, because I believe a lot of these children, a lot of these people that were kidnapped before the war, some of them probably also kidnapped by whoever kidnapped those children on the 7th of October. Okay, and we didn't pay attention. We didn't pay attention. We didn't think, who is it? Why is this happening? It didn't seem to us like something that we should tend to. We didn't think about this because it didn't draw our attention. So when we are not paying attention, when it happens to one person, to a refugee child, to a child that can't get along in school, to this, to that, when we don't care about these people, eventually it happens to the people that we do care about them, so that we will tend to this issue of missing people. Because there is a promise inside every such case. The promise inside every such case is, like I said, you learn that you need to change your schooling system. You learn that you need to change your working schedule. You learn that those people that are night owls, they can travel and they can walk around. And now when there is war, now we study the power of community, the power of this, the power of that. What about the people that were homeless? Okay, if you try to fetch a homeless person with a job, eventually they will try to escape any person who tries to help them, because they know they're not fit to work. Okay, they will become sick. Now they're being looked at as lazy. It's like, hey, we fixed you with a job, you have no home, so that you can, we want to solve your problem. But they are missing layers that we don't see. And so these people, they begin to stop asking for help, not go to anyone, not ask for anyone, and not ask the people. Now they can go missing. And they can both be recruited to those people that kidnap people, or they can go missing themselves. And people will blame them, because if they try to turn to help, people will blame them that they don't want to receive help. Now, when we have everybody sees that those services that are supposed to help, and people are complaining. People have released themselves from being kidnapped. People were stuck and released themselves, and they said, nobody came to us. Nobody came to us. Stop making it look beautiful. Nobody came to us. And they felt betrayed. And they, unfortunately, when it happens by the masses, only then people understand, oh, they are not imagining this person was not lazy. Oh, there's something happens when a person goes to a crisis that they cannot immediately work. Some people are overworking themselves. Some people cannot work. So they either sleep all the time, or they have panic attacks, and they cannot just do so. So that what we see as a simple solution, oh, this person is in the street, oh, let's fix them with a job so they can come back to the living. Sometimes it works, and there are cases where it works, but there are cases where not. And this calls for us it's a promise, it's a bit of a gift, because it's longevity for us to go not in the same road to work every day. It's longevity to us to not work in a monotonous way every day. It's longevity to us to solve issues. It's longevity to us to understand that there are more than one cases, that we don't rely only on this, let's say, this UN organization, or this regime, or this village, or these people, that there are various ways and various solutions and various ways the person can solve a problem or change a situation that's independent of one particular source of help, whether it's even spiritual. Okay? So those things they are hidden gifts, but they are very well hidden gifts, because it is our blind spots. And those people that went missing, those people that we kidnapped, they are calling us, they're calling our attention. And yes, it's true, for the only thing that it takes for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. But we also need to understand, a lot of people don't know, what can I do? Okay, so what can you do today? Okay, first of all, travel more. Okay, and think about how can you create a form of life where you're not dependent on your daytime job. Okay, think about what rules need to change in your country. Let's say you're in Netherlands, okay, the country of better other fees. Let's say you're in Netherlands. In the Netherlands, there are a lot of rules, and the reasoning for those rules. But what can you do for there to be more flexibility even around the rules? And it happens a lot in Netherlands. What can you do for people to have solutions until they have the bureaucratic thing arranged? What can you do when I tell you that your fingerprint, when you have ID, your fingerprint, your biometric fingerprint, nobody is going to ask it if you come without the passport. I did this not on purpose, but this happened to me, and nobody asked for my fingerprint. The people at the immigration, very, very kind to me, very, very kind. I'm very thankful for them, and I do not blame them in any way, shape or form. They actually had to call the embassy, the Dutch embassy in Israel, and they got the application form for my initial passport. But all that needed to be was that I would show my fingerprint, and they would immediately recognize that I'm citizen, and see what rights do I have as citizen. Okay, so they were very, as people, they were very helpful, but we also cannot ignore that there are certain things that we are being told when we make a passport, when we issue a passport, that we think, oh, it's biometric passport, now it's no, wherever I am, I can put my finger, then I can travel, I can put my finger, then immediately no paperwork. And this is unfortunately not true. So now you have to be informed. And when you are informed, you understand that both the rights and rules that you thought you're having by having a citizenship, you don't always have. Okay, if there was no refugee shelter in Netherlands in COVID in 2021, 2022, okay, I would not have shelter, even though I have biometric passport of Dutch. You all have BSN. Everybody that has passport has BSN everybody. It's a part of the numbers of the passport, is the BSN. But there are certain rules, and you're not receiving your rights. Okay? And so you have to think about all these rules that protect me. Some of them are actually protecting me from having a shelter, protecting me from having a housing. Okay? What can you do for the street to be safe? So people traveling, people like to travel. So when people travel, we can protect each other and stay safe. For and to play with children, because children, they will find anything, or pets even, because they will sniff around, they will find things that you don't know that exist. And when you get that, when you are with them, then you will find places, you will see places, you will seek places, and then you will see things that you don't normally see. Those things are not over there far away always. Sometimes they are around in the neighborhood, around you. Okay? So those are things that we can do, that we can say. And most importantly, if you meet a person, meet a child, meet a person that went missing, don't immediately call the cops, don't immediately call the welfare. Speak to this child. What does this child need? If you don't do it, some person will do it that is not having good intentions. Okay? Because you must listen to this child. What does this child want? What do they have to tell you? They will tell you, and if you are listening to them, and don't immediately call authorities, don't immediately call this, don't immediately call that. I will tell you, when I was homeless one night in Amsterdam, before I got to the shelter, okay, I didn't find the shelter in Haarlem, and so I took the train and I reached Amsterdam. And I was one night in the street. In the morning, caught me a lady that she seemed very nice, and she had uniform for the Bink, the company that checks the tickets, and also, okay, it was a Friday, 23rd of December, 2020, 2021. Okay, it was Christmas. So from that morning, I worked until 1 with her. I was just staying with her. She said she will allow me a place to stay. And she said she also was in the street, and so on and so forth. Eventually, as the things go by, and I talked about the story over and over and again, she begins to tell me that she has a side business, or that is selling soft drugs. And I said, there's no reason for a Dutch person, because drugs are legal, there's no reason for a Dutch person to have a side business, or to try to hide the fact that they are selling drugs, because citizens could buy drugs at the coffee shop. And so with the legalization, make it very easy to identify that she was not going to talk to me about drugs. And she says, somebody brings the lingerie, we will give you pajamas, some bring you lingerie. So what do I need lingerie? Okay, if I'm homeless and I just want to stay in a certain place, okay, then they thought to put me in clothes that and it's winter, that I will not be able to escape. And eventually she wants to take me to this place, to her home. And she says to me, you know, what I like about my job, that people have to listen to me, because we work with the police. And if you run away, or if somebody runs away, then they will have big problems, because they cannot travel black. They will have big problems. Okay, so she was threatening me, and then she took the right, I went to the left, went to the police. Of course, they did nothing, and I had to stay there and not move until they agreed to give me shelter, which I had to use my last money to go to. Okay, and they say it's 14 minutes. You think it's 40 minutes walk. It is 14 minutes drive. And the poor taxi driver, he didn't understand who he's carrying, so he was just thinking he's taking me to the INO, and it was 14-minute drive, and I thought it's 14-minute walk, so I was waiting, and then in the middle of the highway, I tried to break the door open, and he was like, no, we are arriving, and then what he told me, he wanted to say, it's just like, it takes time. He say, oh, no, it takes time, it's because traffic. So that was the story. Eventually, he did bring me to the INO, which was a hostel, that was a shelter, and then, you know, the other story goes from there. But the fact is that some of these people that are kidnapping these children, and immediately I thought not about me because I had a Dutch passport. This lady, she thought because I have brown hair, okay? I have brown hair and brown eyes because half of my ancestry is Israeli, right? So she thought I am refugee, and she didn't know I am Dutch. She told me you will need to work. A passport costs $1,000, €1,000, and I said I'm Dutch. you know. Oh, she wanted me to make calls. She said, I will give you SIM card, no problem. And she wanted me to make calls for her business. So what do you want me to make calls for you? So I asked a lot of questions that a lot of people that, let's say, it was before the war with Ukraine. And immediately I was thinking, I was like, okay, who are the homeless people? Who are the people who are stuck at night with no place to be? Those refugees, yes, but also children. Somebody who ran out of violence, okay? And if you go to the welfare, they say, oh, what about the family? And then they put the child back with the family. On the other hand, parents that love their children but find it difficult to provide for them, the children are kidnapped globally. Okay, so now when you hear this, you see how when you meet the person that needs help, then you must ask them what they need. Don't call immediately to the police. Don't call immediately to the welfare. Because if this child speaks about something and somebody, now, police can be great, but within the police, there are always people who are corrupted. It's anybody, okay? Organized crimes has to be organized with somebody within a system. Okay? It doesn't mean that the police entirely is bad. It's enough for one person corrupted, okay, to threaten people or to intercept any attempt to help. Now you get this point, okay? So if you have an inner person that works with the bank, an inner person that works with the police, it only takes one inner person. But when we listen to the people, then we understand, oh, there is this person, they say to us, oh, you came back, oh, the lady said they work with, oh, she works with the bank, and you give them a lot of identifying details, then you can do something. Okay? And when the person managed to escape, you listen to them. What do they need? Okay, in the beginning, they might be afraid to talk to you. Because it's when a person is missing and they understand, if I turn to help, if I will drive black, people will arrest me, so they don't drive the train, even though they can drive black and they will be written off, the report will be written off if they are homeless. Okay? Because you have rights. So if I turn to people, they will call the police, they will call the welfare. But this is just some of these children, they're kidnapped because they were taken from the parents into a hosting family. And some hosting families are fabulous. Some hosting families are violent. It's just life, okay? And they ran away from this violence. Now they don't want to be caught by the welfare because they would put them back in the violent family or in another violent family. So they can't turn to the welfare, but this means also that they can't be found. Because if you go and you see them, it's like, oh, I saw this picture, this person from the picture, let's call the police, let's call the welfare. Immediately that person, you kill them. So what can we do? Is we can listen to the people. What do these people need? Work for solution with them. And it forces us to be creative and to work 180 from what we are used to, which is exactly what we need to do in this day and age. It's exactly what we need to do in this day and age. And so, when you think about these people, now you begin to understand that that which is missing is carrying a promise, is carrying a secret. That is a secret actually to longevity, to healing of our nervous system, of life in society, of the health of children. So many children are prescribed with amphetamines and even antipsychotics because they cannot sit in class. They're not supposed to. And to have residence that allows for growing pets as well. You know, I was a doggy sitter and I brought a dog to my house. And it was a small flat. And I told them it's a small flat, but the dog was bigger than I expected. And he began to play. He found things. He found a ball underneath the bed that I didn't know existed. He found things that went missing for, I don't know, a millennium. Okay, and I cleaned my house, but still, he found things that went missing. Okay, they also tear up things. Okay, but it's very important for our residents to be accommodating with pets. Because even though pets ruin this and ruin that and ruin that, they are bringing to life, they are finding things that are missing so much quicker than we do. Also babies, right? And so when we, and you know, during COVID, everybody that had a dog, there was this meme of the dog telling to the person, do you want me to take you on a walk? Because they keep us healthy. We take care of them, they keep us healthy. And they bring blessing for people. And so Neptune is also ruling that healing, that holistic healing. And the holistic healing comes from looking at the bigger picture, looking at those things that we're missing. That which we didn't know that we lost will be found. And when you tend to a missing person, when you tend to people who are kidnapped, we pray for them and we pray for us to bring and create a situation where these people can return and can live a good life. Wherever they are, whether it's those missing people that were here and there before the conflict or the war broke, and we were just looking at this or the milk carton and not really knowing what to do. It's also to change the system, to change the structure so that they have a structure to go back to. It's not to go back to the same school that they were, or to go back to the same job that they worked, or to go back to the same home. And then when there is war, when the homes are ruined, families are murdered, then these people will inevitably, when those who will come back, will not come back to the same reality at all. But this is the extreme case. When we tend to it in the day-to-day, and what we need to tend to it is just to travel more, to play with children more, to listen to children more, to build our environment so that it's not to build fences so that children will play in this closed space, in as much as to build society so that we are less needing of those fences to begin with. And we learn about this, we know that everywhere where there is a question, there is an answer somewhere around the universe. So when we share this information, when we keep this in mind, when we are reminded of all of those people that went missing, now when we resolve these issues, they can come back, and those that can come back are even those people that we didn't even know that went missing for decades. And I want to tell you one happy story. Not long ago, there was a person who crossed the Jordanian border from Israel. Okay? And he went missing. And people didn't know where he is. Eventually, he met some Jordanian people, and they helped him. Okay, they helped him and they brought him back to Israel. So this person just crossed the border, And people would say, oh, he is insane. Oh, maybe because he's insane, he did that. And then God, the Jordanians cooperated with Israel, lovely, and they brought him back, no problem, to make sure that he's okay. Now we say, oh, this person was insane. But wouldn't it be lovely for everybody to be able to cross the border and go back safely, whether they are a woman, a man, whether we consider them sane or not sane? Okay, this insanity is showing us that we can cooperate very well with Jordan. That it's not unsafe for a person to cross the border to Jordan. Okay, it should not be. And thus with any border, we need our space, our autonomy, absolutely, but it shouldn't be a problem to travel around, to move around. So this is the happy story that I have, the inspiring story that I have to say. And this is in honoring of Neptune, in honoring of the people who are kidnapped, in honoring the people who are missing, in honoring even of cases where people went missing and unfortunately are no longer with us. So to tend into that and to bring this knowledge to people who don't know or have this tremendous longing and not even knowing what is going on. And there are people among us that have remote viewing skills. And again, it's not just the remote viewing skills, it's also to listen. If you're doing remote viewing, please tend to the person, ask them what is needed, listen to them, because they have gifts to give us. They have gifts, they see the world from a perspective that we need to see, that is our blind spot. Okay? And now they see it. And listen to them and work with them. So those of you who have remote viewing talents, yes, don't be fearsome, and yes, if I receive more information, more ways to tend to things that I'm called to share, then of course I will share. And you say, the only thing it takes for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. And then you say, but what can good people do? Here are some things. Use your freedom, play with children, walk with your pet, build environments that are a joy to live in, where you don't need a lot of fences. Okay, it's also building tolerance for the costumes, for the people, and standing for these values. So those are things we can do. Those are ways. And you can also organize like a little bit of a group travel with the family around the area where a person that went missing said to have been hanging around. And so you honor them with a vacation. And in that vacation, people will naturally want to look around and to find things, and there are so many people that we can find that is beyond what we can imagine, and create a life for them that they can live. So our peace is interrupted so that we can find the greater peace that is based on truth rather than on not seeing, ignoring, setting aside. And it's a process for each and every one of us. So I'm blessing you, and I'm very, very grateful for you to have taken the time to watch, to have taken the time to tend to. You can do it in prayer, you can do it in making use of your freedoms. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.